This is not a test. Repeat. This is not a test. The magnetic field remains within established safety margins. All navigation systems are operating normally. Your leaders have confirmed there is no cause for public concern. Everything is proceeding according to long-term planning. The poles continue to align with historical records. Any reported fluctuations are minor and temporary. I checked the compass again tonight. It pointed somewhere else. The sky is the wrong color over the city. They keep saying the same words on every channel. This is an automated message from the emergency. From the Ministry of... From the Office of... There is nothing to fear. There has never been anything to fear. The northern lights have been observed further south than usual. This is a natural phenomenon and not indicative of any larger shift. Citizens are advised to remain calm and continue normal activities. The data has been reviewed. The data has been reviewed. The data has been... Something is already moving beneath us. They just haven't told us yet. The meridian is fading, and no one is coming to fix it. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. City lights flicker in the acid rain, selling illusions through the digital vein. Trust the plan, the voices decree, from towers of power that none of us see. The compass is broken, the north is a lie. They mapped our future to watch it die. Governments whisper through encrypted lines, while the earth prepares for the end of times. The data was scrubbed, the scientists paid to keep the masses in the dark afraid. They lied to us all in the name of control, hid the reversal deep in their soul. No escape for the billions left out in the cold. The story's been written, the truth's been sold. Innocent fake glow of a dying sun. The truth emerges when the damage is done. The shift is upon us, the secret unveiled, but the warning was silence. The system prevailed. Pharma giants mix their elixirs of hope for the survivors who will never cope. Military barons in their fortified keeps, counting the bodies while the planet weeps. Banks trade in futures of ash and despair, profiting quietly from the cross they bear. We were the pawns in the global charade. Now the board, it is flipping in the masquerade. Feel the tension in the magnetic field, the invisible force that they never reveal. Too late for without windows. The orders were signed, every projection deleted, every scientist reassigned. The field remained stable, the briefings declared, while the lines on the maps were already prepared. They called it consensus, they called it routine. Burn the reports in the places unseen. The market stayed green and the city stayed calm. The silence was engineered, the truth was disarmed. The compass was spinning, they sold us the north, while the bunkers were filling behind armored doors. Architects of silence, keepers of the lie. They built the quiet where the warnings would die. Government seals on the data they burn. Banks moving futures the public never learned. Farmers' reserves locked for the chosen alone. Generals mapping the zones they would own. They chose who would know and who would descend. The architects of silence left the rest of us to end. The banks moved the capital into vaults underground, shorting the surface while the shift was inbound. Big farmers' compounds and temperature controlled keeps, countermeasures for the few while the fever would sweep. The military drew perimeters around what would remain after the cities had fractured and the records were claimed. They ran the simulations, they practiced the chain of command that would govern the world after pain. It wasn't one monster, it was all of them aligned in rooms with no records and clocks that rewound. They weighed the survival of the species they claimed and decided the many were simply too much to say. Architects of silence, they built it so well, the greatest deception the species ever felt. No sirens were sounded, no signals were sent, just the hum of the servers where the evidence went. When the Axis decided to tear itself free, they were already sealed in the dark. They decreed silence. The orders were signed. The silence remains. The orders were signed. The needle won't stop. The needle won't stop. They said it was stable. The lights are flickering across the grid tonight. The ground beneath the towers begins to fight. Aurora's bleeding colors never meant for human eyes. The sky is tearing open in ways we can't describe. They told us the field was holding, the poles were aligned, but the air tastes like iron and the horizon's aligned. It's bending and cracking in real time on the screens. The world is remembering what it was before the machines. Something is shifting, something is broken. is ending. The truth has awoken. The axis fractures. The poles are reversing. The cities are cracking. The oceans are surging. They built their silence. They drew up their plans. Now the world is splitting right under our hands. Skyscrapers leaning like drunks in the storm. Streets splitting open, the subways deform. People running blind through the dust and the screams, while the magnetic storm tears apart our machines. The northern lights are everywhere now, painting the end in colors too loud. We're watching the maps rewrite themselves in real time. The borders are gone and the futures are crying. In the middle of the roar, I can still hear their voice. Everything's fine within normal parameters. They knew this was coming. They chose who would live while we danced in the neon they promised to give. Now the ground is remembering, the sky is on fire, and every lie they told us is burning in the wire. The axis fractures, fractures, fractures. The poles are turning, turning, turning. No escape from the hammer, no shelter from the burn. They knew, they knew, and now the whole world learns. The ground keeps moving. The sky won't settle. Everything we built is already forgetting. The ground keeps moving. The sky won't settle. Winds carve new valleys through the bones of the towers. We walk where the streets used to pulse with false power. Neon signs flicker their last half remembered lies. Everything's fine, glowing faint in the dust where we scavenge by. We pry open the vaults that the bankers once sealed. Find only scorched ledgers and promises repealed. A bunker had trusted the elite, long gone. Their plans turned to dust in the pale morning sun. The compass is useless. The stars are our only map. We read the horizon by the shape of the gap where the old world ended and the new one began. Scraping the ruins for whatever's still breathing. found the old files, the maps marked for us. Farmers' clean rooms now home to the wind and the rats. Military compounds collapsed under their own combat. We burn the last currency for heat in the cold. Watch the new oceans reclaim what the bankers once sold. Every crack screen we power still whispers their name, but the signal is dying and we're glad that it came. Sometimes at night when the static rolls in, we hear the old broadcast like ghosts on the wind. They lie to protect you, the line still repeats. We laugh through cracked lips and go back to our feet. Survival don't care who was right or was wrong. It only keeps moving when the weak have all gone. Scraping the ruins in the static and dust, we are learning to build from the bones of the world that the powerful killed. The landscape is brutal, the future unsure, but the few that remain are no longer obscure. We carry the knowledge, we carry the cost of a planet rewritten and a species that lost. Yet here in the wreckage, a small flame still glows. Stack ruins calling, we answer, we go. We answer, we go. We found the hatch, buried under the rubble, sealed from the inside. We forced the lock with crowbars and spite. The air that came out still smelled of their right to survive, while the rest of us burned in the light of a sky that had finally remembered its might. Sterile corridors glowing in emergency red, the kind of quiet that follows the dead. Expensive shoes still polished beside bodies and chairs. Watches still ticking like they thought time would care. They planned for the end like it was a meeting. Reserved the best seats while the rest kept on bleeding. Bunker ghosts in their climate control tombs, the chosen ones rotting in their private dooms. Suits still pressed, ties still perfectly straight, while the world they abandoned decided their fate. Empty shelves where the countermeasures should stand. Maps of a surface They really believed they could outrun the ground, that money and rank would keep the earth bound. Now they sit in the dark with the rest of the lost, the powerful dead at their own private cost. I wanted to laugh, I wanted to scream, but mostly I stood there and let the silence win. Bunker ghosts, they thought they would save the architects of silence in the graves that they made. No one came for them, no rescue arrived, just the slow, quiet truth that they never survived. We take what we need from the rooms they designed, leave the bodies in peace with the lies they enshrine. The shift took them to, in the end, just like us, but at least we were honest about turning to dust. Bunker ghosts. They're quiet now. We're the ones left walking. The sky doesn't belong to us anymore. We step from the dark of the tombs they designed into a horizon that no longer aligns. The aurors are screaming in colors too loud, pain in the end where the old stars once bowed. Compasses spin like the drunk on the change. North is a memory, south feels estranged. We read the new land by the cracks in its skin, by the way the wind howls and the rivers begin. The ground still remembers the shape it once knew, but the sky has been rewritten in fire and in blue. This is the sky we scavenged, the one we were left. Auroras that dance where the old compass left. We navigate blind by the stars that remain, and the shape of the wounds carved into the terrain. The shift took the maps and it burned every chart. Now we walk by the light of a world torn apart. No north to return to, no home we can name, just the scavenged sky burning above us in flame. Some mornings the ground shifts beneath our bare feet. Small lakes appear where the highways once beat. Radiation whispers in the pale green light. We cover our skin and we move through the night. The old constellations are twisted and wrong. We invent new ones as we stumble along. One points to water, another to higher ground. We name them and whisper so the dead won't be found. Sometimes we stand on the ridges at dusk and watch the sky tear like it's learning to trust. The violence above us, the beauty, the cost of a planet that finally remembered only what we have learned. The rules we are writing are carved into bone. What belongs to the living and what stays with the dead. We share what we scavenge, or the strong take it all. But the strong become tyrants if we let the chain fall. No one hoards medicine, no one hoards the flame. The ones who were hidden will never rule again. We mark what we take with the names of the lost, so their ghost can accuse us if we break what we've crossed. This is not mercy, this is the only way through. We either build together or we start the lie anew. This is our covenant of ash, written in fire where the old world collapsed. No kings in the ruins, no crowns made of bone. We take what we need, but we don't take it alone. The fire is our witness, the sky is our law. We break it together or we break it for all. The dead of the silence, the living have plans. This is our covenant, written in ash. We argued for hours by the light of the blaze about bodies we found and the things we could save. Some said leave them be, let the dead keep their own. Others said survival, don't care for a stone. We drew lines in the dust between justice and theft, between protection and power, between right and what's left. A woman with scars said the old world began when the powerful decided who counted as men. We are not the architects who signed in the dark. We are not the ones who put profit on the ark. But every rule we make is a door we could close on the ones who come after, on the truths we don't know. So we write it in ash, so it can be erased. If the next generation finds better ways. This is our covenant of ash, born from the fire and the silence that crashed. We carry the knowledge of how the light grew, so we bury it deeper than they ever knew. The fire is our witness, the sky is our law. We break it together or we break it for all. No thrones in the ruins, no silence again. This is our covenant, written in ash and in pain, written in ash and in pain. We carry it forward, or we burn it again. We found the vault beneath the broken tower. The doors were sealed from the inside, but something still had power. We forced the locks with whatever we had. The air smelled like ozone and something gone bad. Screens flickered to life with old government blue, and the first file that opened said, "Phase 1 is through." projections and charts showing the pulse shifting and tearing apart. They knew in the 90s, they knew in the 10s. They watched the field weakening year after year and said, not our problem again. Every warning was stamped with a classified seal. Every scientist silenced who tried to reveal. We opened the archive and the truth started screaming. Decades of data, they chose to keep dreaming. They knew the polls would turn, they knew we would burn, and they chose who would stay and who would be left to learn. Bunker manifests listed the names they would save, while the rest of us danced in the lies that they gave. The architects smiled from their rooms without light. Now we hold their confession in the dead of the night. We found the emails between agencies and banks, discussions of profit while the ground gave its thanks. Pharma had stockpiles marked priority 1, reserved for the bloodlines they said were the ones. Military memos on population control, acceptable losses in the new world they'd hold. They ran simulations on how many would die and decided the number was statistically fine. I read my own city on one of the lists. High risk, low value, no extraction exists. They wrote it like weather, like something routine, while we raised our children and paid for their dreams. My hands won't stop shaking, my voice won't stay still. We were never the threat, we were never the way. We opened the archive and the truth started screaming. They knew for how long they planned who was leaving. No mercy, no warning, no last minute change, just cold calculation in rooms rearranged. The greatest deception the species has known was signed in the dark and then left us alone. Now the files are open, now the dead cannot lie. We carry their silence, we carry their crime. We carry their crime. We carry their crime. The archive is open, and we can never go back. Years have passed since the sky tore open. The ground is mostly settled, but nothing is the same. We built our shelters from the bones of the towers, used their wires for gardens and the glass for our hours. The auroras still dance, but we've learned how they move. We read the new patterns like old stories we prove. No compass to trust, so we trust in the land. The shape of the fish is the way the wind stands. We teach the children the names we invented, for stars that still guide when the old ones are ended. This with caution and care. Power them slowly so the old ones can spare what little they offer before they go dark. We've learned not to trust every glowing remark. The children ask questions, we answer in parts about towers and towers and the size of their hearts. We show them the archive when we're old enough to know, but we carry the weight so their futures can grow. We remember the lie every time the ground shakes. We remember the choice that the powerful made, but we do not become them in the rules that we keep. We build what we can from the ash and the deep. The covenant holds because we choose it each day, in the small, quiet acts that keep horror at bay. We found a new meridian in the cracks and the questions, in the work and the care. We carry the knowledge, but we do not despair. The sky still remembers, the ground still can shift, but here in the settlement we continue to lift what little we have into something that lasts. Not perfect, not easy, but honest at last. The old world is gone and we mourn what it cost, but the new one is ours and we will not be lost. We will not be lost. We carry a thought, new meridian. We walk. We walk. We sat you down when you were old enough to ask, and we told you the truth. We were never meant to know. We carry the static of the lie that was told, the hum of the servers where the evidence rolled. Decades of warnings, they locked in the dark while the poles were preparing to tear us apart. We carry the faces of the ones left behind, the cities they marked as acceptable and signed. We carry the bunkers that failed in the end, and the bodies still sitting in suits that pretend. We carry the covenant we wrote in the ash, the rules we still keep so the strong do not crash. We carry the sky that we learn how to read, and the new meridian born from the nave. We carry the static of everything is not safe from the storm. Power does not vanish when towers fall down. It waits in the quiet for new suits and new crowns. If you ever hear whispers that everything's fine, if the data starts vanishing line after line, if the powerful smile while the ground starts to shake, remember the static, remember the ache. We carry the static through all of our days, the noise of the truth in the silence they crave. We carry the warning so the cycle won't turn. We carry the light so the darkness won't learn. The pulse may be steady, the sky may seem calm, but the light is still waiting with open arms. We carry the static. We carry the warning. We carry the truth. So you